널 기다렸어.
Place. And when I looked at this group, as I said before, he was the last person I would guess to take first place. We were saying Classic. We were saying maybe SOS. But no, it's Trust. And now we're going to go into game number 15. We're almost there at the halfway point. Curious is going to face up against Classic for another PVZ.
Yep. Curious not having the best results today, 1-3. Classic 3-1, only dropping a map to Trust, but everyone has already. Every player he played against lost him. He went 5-0, and that's the best you can do in our first session here. The next best that can happen is Classic goes 4-1. Every player gets 5 in this first session here, the afternoon session. Curious, if he loses this one, going to leave himself with a 1-4 final score. Not what he wants.
So we are going to jump into Invader for the second time tonight for game number 15, Curious versus Classic. Here we are on Invader, or rather horizontal spawns once again, and up in the top left, the red Zerg. It is Curious.
The only Zerg in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And to the top right, in blue, cross player Classic. This is both players' 5th and final sets in the afternoon session, as we will be at the halfway point, as you mentioned, the midway point. I'll have a big review session for you guys after our midway break. Give you guys the standings.
And I'm not sure we usually try to start the second half at 6, so I just want to give you guys the heads up. There's a possibility that if this ends early at because right now it's 5:10, so if this ends at 5:20, 5:30, we might have something like a half-hour break and then go into the second session. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll let you guys know.
That's usually how it goes. That's how the schedule is set for us. So, yeah, just giving you guys that sort of heads up if you were like, I don't like watching PVZ and you want to take a little bit of a break. We'll be back by 6, I'd say, at the latest. Could be earlier than that, but I'd say 6 at the latest. So, go do what you got to do. Well, we are at these top horizontal spawns here again on Invader. We had a PvP here last time. Now we're going into a PvZ. And obviously, both players will check the vertical spawns first. And actually, it looks like Curious has kind of predicted that he would have seen a scout by now if they were at vertical, and is going to already go ahead and send it over horizontally. We'll grab that third base, no hatch block. And this is a lot easier for Curious to defend adept aggression, any sort of ground-based armies, because, it's not the vertical spawns I was talking about where you have to expand towards your opponent. On this map, you're expanding away from them, and it's a long rush distance. You have to go so far. Look at the probe trail, on the mini-map, how far he has to walk. Yeah.
I want to point something out about Curious's map selection. He picks Invader against Classic, right? A Protoss, right? And there's 4 Protosses in the group. But he picks it again against SOS. So against SOS and Classic, arguably the 2 stronger Protosses, he picks Invader. But then against Hurricane, he picked... what did he pick here? Okay, wait. First, he picked Runes of Endion against Trust. And then he picked...
Dust Towers against Hurricane.
Yeah, Dust Towers against Hurricane. So he's picking different maps for different Protosses based on their styles, I suppose. And against both of the arguably stronger Protosses, he picks Invader. So wanting to play these long, drawn-out maps does not want to be close to these strong Protosses, I guess.
I think this... Well, the funny thing is, though, he's got a 50-50 chance. He could be vertical spawns, and it's really, really difficult to defend. He must have a good build plan for both types of situations. And in this situation, I'd say Baneling drops and Baneling aggression is really strong. Obviously, Classic has already predicted that and is going for a Stargate build, which is the standard. Basically, every Protoss kind of has to do this right now. But, the rush distance by air, the air distance between these 2 bases is pretty small. And if you can avoid being detected by the Phoenixes, some Baneling drops could be effective here. That's just my 2 cents at looking at the situation. It's our first time seeing a PvZ on this map at these spawns. We've seen it at the vertical spawns on the left side before, and how crazy aggressive you can be as the Protoss there. Okay, gonna catch these Adepts. Nicely done. And they, will have a shade available. I don't think they'll survive to see the end of it, though. Nice
misclicks the Zergling. Doesn't really matter. The Korean commentators are going nuts over it. But
they just have their own style of doing things, man.
Yeah, it's all good. Catching the Adepts.
I can't wait till the day. Like, I wanna make like a parody video of a day in the life of a Korean commentator. He finds like a $5 bill in his shirt pocket. He's like, oh!
It's actually so funny.
He like goes into the bathroom. He seizes out a toothpaste. He's like,
아쉽네. He's just commentating his whole life. Oh man.
Like he's like with his friend, and they just met up at his house, and they start walking to the restaurant. He realizes he left his wallet, and his home. His friend's like, oh!
Oh man. You gotta make that video.
It's like out of toilet paper. I don't even want to know. Like, all right. I wish we could commentate like that. It'd be a lot more fun. I know you guys would hate it though. So
I know some of those LOL commentators tried to do it. It didn't really work out. It was pretty funny. I watched the video.
Yeah,
it was alright. But for everyone abroad, it would just be a huge meme. If we ever tried to commentate like that, it would just be we would just try-harding,
We would have just yelled Zergling 4 times when that Adept died.
Yeah.
Instead of just talking about...
he doesn't get the kill!
Instead of talking about how he misclicked.
Yeah.
And it dies. A little bit more harassment here going on with these Phoenixes. But Curious is keeping it safe. He's not really missing his Overlords this time. That was actually a consistent problem for him in this series, but this time he's got it down. And he is going for the Baneling style I was talking about, but not on drops, just going for Hydra Bane, which is, very opposite of what he did earlier when he was going for the Lurker style. And where he totally crushed Hurricane with just Lurkers on the high ground there, which was actually his only win of the night. He's 1-3. Going to catch another Adept. Curious is playing like his life depends on it right now, and he is playing damn well.
Yeah, that he is. He's making those Zerglings work for him. And not usually Curious's style. And it looks like he actually gets into the natural, too. And he could even get into the main. So he's going to get a full scout here, maybe even a couple of probes.
This is really frustrating, but obviously Classic's about to hit his timing. Glaives are done. He's going to go for a big attack here. Actually, I say they're done, but there's still 7 seconds away. Ling's going to try to go for the Shroud, but the third base is under attack as well. He's not actually on attack move. Okay, there he goes. 3 more Adepts walking in. That's only 1 Hydra here.
That's not enough. He's got to get some other units over there to deal with that, and he still hasn't dealt with the attack in his back door. Looks like he'll try to now, but more Warpins of Adepts.
He doesn't have the Baneling speed. Yes, okay, now it's finished, but there's no Banelings here. 12 Hydras on the way. They're split up, and they're struggling to deal with this harass, and we could even see another Shade here in just a second. There it goes. He's just going to try to avoid the Hydras and then Shade away.
Looks like he's going to Shade onto the Hydras. No, going to cancel it.
Just
he
wanted
keeps
to
them away. Yeah, keeps him away, and he's getting massive amount of damage
20 kills
now.
already. But, he's just evening up the worker count. He needs to do more, and if he loses all these Adepts and the Warp Prism, I think this is actually a win for Curious.
Oh, man,
he's going to commit.
In, and all the Hydras are there. He's trying to focus them down, but now the probes are going to be pulled here. The drones, rather. Another Warpin of Adepts, but it's only 4.
He's
and
down
all the Hydras survive.
He is down to 26 workers, though, with that drone pull. And even if he holds here, a counterattack's not going to end the game. I was like, oh, well, he's not. He needs to do more. Well, he did more there. The Hydra's fighting with the drones. The drones got prioritized up at the front. He has no economy now. Holding on to that 4th base is going to be insanely difficult.
A bunch of his queens went down too, so it doesn't look like he has much larva production at this point, even with 4 hatcheries. So he's struggling to reproduce much of anything at this point. He's making 1 Hydra. So follow-up attack here from Classic should be it. Even these Adepts could fight against the Hydras, but with some Banelings here, he's going to take it slow. Yeah,
tried to split there. Actually did end up taking a bit of splash, but look at this. It's just too many. All his drones are in one basket, if you will. They're all at this one base, and a lot of them are going to go down. The hatchery itself will go down, and all he has to do is basically set up to make sure he doesn't lose this fight versus the Hydras.
Does run right up to the Hydras.
Even lifting with these isn't going to be the best trade. It doesn't matter, though, because Curious has no money, and there's warp-ins.
Yeah, more and more warp-ins coming across. He's probably got like 10 gateways at this point. He's got 7. Okay, so still enough production here.
Curious is evening up the supply because most of the supply of Classic is in Workers, but that's what's allowing him to keep warping in over and over and over again. The fact of the matter is he didn't kill that base, and Curious is like trying to drone up. The Korean commentator is pointing out that with all this gas, he's probably just going to make a ton of Archons. Phoenix is over here. He's calling more drones. There's just no way to
saturate. There's still not a single queen on the map, by the way. He just doesn't have enough minerals to produce any. And so that means he's struggling for larvae. He's just using the 4 hatcheries instead to try to keep himself afloat for now. And, I mean, it's working. He's surviving. But will it win in the game? Not so sure. Storm first before Archons. Classic just has an economy to where eventually he has a large enough army to win the game. It's like when you've got 1,200 gas, what do you want to do with it? Might as well get Storm 2. This Warp Prism is just meaning that Curious can never hold on to his mineral lines. And guys, this is like that game we cast last week where we saw the Disruptor drop from Hush and it didn't work, and we watched the rest of the game. It took about 5 minutes more, but then is he going to kill this hatch? I don't even know how low it is, but it's like bleeding pretty hard. Let me take a look. It's okay, he's got a decent amount. 1/3 health left. No one's dealing with that Adept, though, so that's somewhat alarming. We got a counterattack on the way. He's just going to try to knock everything down with Speed Banes. All he has to do is storm once or twice with all these High Templar. Doesn't have any sentries. And lots of Zealots. So if he misses the storms and it rolls into everything... If that Archon stands at the front, it will absorb like every Baneling Curious has. Can't even afford more than 6 Banes at this point. Yeah, I think this is just going to be a pitiful attempt. Storm's going down. Oh, God. GG. Okay. Classic takes another win. And that will be it for our afternoon session. Classic going to end it with a 4-1. And at 5-0, Trust is number 1, Classic number 2, and Gumiho number 3 at 3-2. Everyone else, a 3-way tie at 1-4. So this is starting to look like a group that may be decided very early on. It's really all about Gumiho, how he does in the next group. It's going to be interesting because let's say SOS, Hurricane, and Curious lose their next games. Is there even a chance that we have a tie? I suppose there is. But it looks like we're going to take a look at these results and get them on screen for you guys. It's possible. It is possible with obviously 3-1-4s that everyone wins the same amount of games and Gumiho falls down and everyone ends at like a 4-5 or something like that. It could be like a 4-5 4-way tie. Or a 5-5. Yeah, something like that where it's like just on the edge. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, basically anything is possible. Curious, Hurricane, and SOS can all get out, but it's going to be very, very difficult. If Trust loses all 5 games in a row, then he could be down there maybe to have to get through on a tiebreaker. So he's looking pretty good right now, and even Classic is in a decent spot as long as they keep up their what they've been doing so far. That's right. So we are going to come back at 6, as we mentioned. So that's actually going to be a long 40-minute break. Tell your friends to come here for the second session, though. We got a lot of good games coming up. See you then.
잠시 후 후반전에 송영환 캐스터와 함께 하시길 바라겠습니다. 감사합니다.